Game presented by Target post-game press conference. At this time, we will open up the floor for questions. As a reminder, please raise your hand so that the mic holders can get the microphones to you. And once you are in possession of the microphone, please state your name and affiliation. Here we go. Front row, pink shirt, please.
Hello, John Cross, Daily Mirror. Wayne, what did you make of the game overall?
Yeah, I thought it was, obviously the result is what it is, and Arsenal showed the quality which they have. I thought the lads, the All-Star lads, a little bit nervous and hesitant, especially first half when we got into some good areas and to get the shots off. And I think you see a difference, of course you do. Arsenal, one of the best teams in Europe, and it was a bit stop-start. Thought the referee made the game a little bit about himself once again. So I think that's something which needs improving in the MLS. I've said it all season. So it's a good opportunity for me to bring it up again. But yeah, it was a disappointing result. But I think most importantly, it's a good event for the fans, and especially the fans in DC to come and see some really good players from the Premier League.
Right here. We'll take it set, and then you'll be next.
Wayne Dios, Yahoo Sports. All-Star and competitions like this are very American. Obviously, you're living it now and seeing how it is. What do you think about this format? What do you think about MLS going up against a European team, something that the league has done in the past, whereas the last 2 years they've played against Liga MX competition? And just like you said, what did you see about the fan support, so many Arsenal fans here in DC?
Yeah, no, listen, it's a good event. It's traditionally a big event over here, and I think the difficulty you have is obviously the players coming in from different places, and you have no time with them to do anything, and so you try and make it a bit of fun and try and let the players have a good experience. And of course, it's great for some players to play against some top players, but also I think some personal pride needs to come into it as well, and you want to try and do well and not let the score be as it was tonight. Yeah, I think, and the different details on your pass, on your finishing is a big difference. So yeah, it's great to be a part of, great to be involved in, but ultimately all the events around the game are great, but once you get into the pitch, of course you want to do better than what we've done tonight. So it's disappointing, but I think it's as I said before, as you said, a lot of different fans come to the game, and I know that's important, obviously, to the league.
Sophie for TalkSport, Wayne. What did you take out of this game personally as a coach, and you're honing your craft as a young coach? What did you take out of it?
Absolutely nothing. So no, listen, it's difficult. As I said, it's on Monday the players all arrived and literally done a small side of the game. On Tuesday, as I suggested, I didn't want them training at the National Mall, but that's where we trained, and we can't do anything. So we were limited to do head tennis, so literally had no time to do any tactics whatsoever. So you put the players out there and hope that they can figure things out. And against a team like Arsenal, that's very difficult to do.
We're going to go to my right, the gentleman in the blue shirt. We're going to come to the front with the blue. I'm sorry, right here. The gentleman with the blue shirt will be next, and then the gentleman with the striped shirt is next. Please go.
Hi Wayne, James Ducker from the Daily Telegraph. Arsenal obviously, impressed last season, but fell away in those last 7 or 8 weeks. Spent a lot of money strengthening this summer, as are other sides, your old club United and Chelsea. Do you see any of them really challenging City for the title next season, or do you think it's going to really, really take something to stop them winning 4 in a row?
Yeah, I think for anyone to challenge Manchester City is going to be very difficult, and but I really like the players Arsenal have signed. I think they've signed some really good players with experience as well, and good size, I think, which is important. I think you look at the players Arsenal have got and the players they've signed, they've really built a strong platform for them to try and do better than they did last season, and I think they will. I think they've got a really good coach in Mikel Arteta, and I think the signings will help them and try not to do what they've done this season, and which was obviously fall away towards the end of the season.
We're going to stay to our right, the gentleman in the striped shirt.
Hi, Phil West from The Striker. Just as a follow-up on the format question, do you think that MLS might be ready to go back to a West versus East? There's a couple of new Miami players who might be all right.
No, listen, I think everything around the game is great, and it's great publicity as well for the league moving forward. Obviously, Apple coming into the league as well has been great, although they didn't allow me staff to sit in the seats today. My staff got kicked out of the seats today by members of Apple, which and I wouldn't be doing my staff service if I didn't bring that up, because if you're getting asked to do the game and with your staff, you'd expect your staff to have seats to sit in. So that was very disappointing, but I do think Apple will help the league grow moving forward.
We're going to go to our left, the lady in the white and black, please.
Hi, Wayne. Sarah
Hi.
Colasi, the District Press. Good to see you. Thanks for taking the time. I wanted to ask, were there any performances you were particularly happy with, and are there any of the players that you'd maybe like a chance to work more with in the future?
Yeah, a few. I think there's some very good players in the All-Star team, and it's very difficult to judge players on tonight, but obviously I've seen what all the players are doing all season. I don't think it's fair for me to say I'd work with any of them players or want to work with them, because they're all at their club. So, but yeah, I think the quality of some of the All-Star players is very high, and they'd certainly benefit DC United if that was the case. But I wouldn't name players individually from that point of view.
Gentleman in the front row, blue shirt.
Hello, Wayne. Sam Minton, the Blazing Musket. Just wanted to ask, you talked about the quality of Arsenal, so especially if someone with your experience, what do you think the league can possibly do to possibly kind of close the gap between, that quality difference?
Yeah, that's a good question. But I think it's the league. I know the league has been working extremely hard to try and bring that gap closer and bring better players in, or younger players more towards the peak into the league, which I think they're doing well. But we're talking about one of the best teams in Europe, in I believe in Arsenal, where this could happen to any team. So it's very difficult when you're playing against a team like Arsenal. In terms of closing the gap, I think that has been happening over the years, and I'm sure that will continue to happen and get closer.
We're going to take our final two questions. It'll be to our left, third row, gentleman in the printed shirt, and then the lady in the black.
Hi, Wayne. Can you just speak to the opportunity for individual players, particularly the younger ones, to match up against some of the top players in the world, and what that means for them, just as a learning experience?
Yeah, I think as I said, it's great, and when you want to play at the top level, you need to take chances. In performances, in attitude, in character, and I think that's very important. And as I said, the only thing I'd say about the lads tonight was I felt a bit hesitant to get the shots off, looked a little bit nervous, especially in the final third, when I know the players in that final third are very good players with good individual skills, good goal scorers, and I just felt probably didn't do themselves justice tonight.
And our final question.
Hi, Wayne. Brandy Flores, DC News Now. As you now put the focus back on your own franchise with 10 games left this season, what are you looking ahead to, or what's your focus, if it has even changed towards as you come down near the final stretch?
Yeah, and that's it's. I'm happy to go back to my own club, and obviously I've had a lot of staff working, not just myself and coaches, but physios, analysis lads, staff behind the scenes who have put a lot of work into the last few days to try and make sure everything was organised right as well. So But yeah, we'll go back tomorrow to DC. We've got a Leagues Cup game next Wednesday. Obviously, there's a break in the league, but when that comes back, we're in the playoff spots at the minute, and that's where we intend to try and finish it. So it's a very important run-in for us, and our focus we'll pick back up with DC United tomorrow.
Thank you for your time tonight, Coach.
Thank you. Cheers.